Over the last year or two, I've received like a fair amount of questions about how I do some of my game art, and this video tutorial is really the first step to answering some of those questions. Probably one of the more frequent questions is how I do my concept art. And while this isn't my best skill, it's a very fundamental skill that can help with other things as well. So I thought I'd do this tutorial series. This is the first in 5 parts. Hopefully this gives you a bit of insight into how I do things. Alright, so let's get started. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Farmergnome. So we'll just start a new canvas, make it 2000 by 2000. What we want to do first is just lay down some lines. Now I've got the word that we need to include some sort of fireplace and people standing around for this concept. I won't go into the details about why I'm drawing this concept, but it's for Under the Ocean. If you haven't played that, it's actually one of my games. You can check it out on my site. So yeah, just blocking out some rough shapes. Definitely want a mountain, definitely want a fireplace, 2 characters. Some sort of sea. The standard brush that I use is just a circular brush with no softness. For most of my work anyway. Just trying to find the right shape. This is fairly important. You can never spend too much time laying out the composition. Just blocking in some shades. If you have a tablet, I put opacity on pen pressure, but I don't do it on size. Now, it's important to remember that colors and shades will get sort of less contrasted as they go into the distance. They'll blend with the fog color, so stuff up close should have lots of blacks and whites and real vibrant colors, while stuff in the distance should look real washed out. Just adding some clouds in the boat from Under the Ocean that you crash on. Still just trying to find the right composition here. I'm not sure this is it yet, but quite like the mountain and overlooking the ocean, but I think something's needed on the right. Now if you're doing your own concept image at home, this step will be different. I mean, finding the right shape will be different, but the fundamentals are still the same. You should be trying to find a shape that works and that looks interesting. Just putting a little beach between the fire and some sort of mountain on the right. Now you shouldn't be, this is kind of me getting carried away, but you shouldn't be spending too much time with a small brush. You should, as much as possible, be painting with a big brush. Getting bogged down in details is probably one of the major pitfalls when you start doing a concept image. You get too focused on, details, and then before long you have, such a small area all detailed up and everything else looks like shit. detail around the fire. The fire is definitely going to be the focal point of the picture, so I want it to be, you know, very contrasted, lots of detail. There'll be two people standing around there too, which will also be part of the focal point. Just putting in some people now. I guess the easiest way to draw people is just sort of like just draw a line straight down and then add a bit of shading on top. That's how I found, and then you can always go back later and, you know, add more detail, cut out the shape a bit more, like sort of like I'm doing now. Just adding some god rays in the distance, just to add a bit of interest. Like I said before about the focal point, there's a few ways to find out what your focal point is on your image. Probably one of the cooler ones I've found is you close your eyes, right, and then open them, and wherever your eyes sort of center, that's where focal point is currently. Still not quite happy with the composition, so just gonna extend the canvas a little bit, collapse my layers, and just move it over to the left and start painting up that mountain a bit more, just to see what it looks like with a bit more mountain in the scene, I guess. I'm not quite sure about the black area, just on the bottom left of the screen. I just kept that there to give it a bit of consistency with the game. The game sort of has large blanket black areas where you can't walk. Waves signifying, you know, basically blocked off areas, so I don't know if I'll keep that yet, but I want to keep some sort of consistency with the game. Especially the characters too, and even the fire, to some extent. It needs to look like it was kind of from the game. A lot of people have asked how I do my colors, and I guess this will be part 2, video 2, but I really don't use a palette or anything, as lots of people have suggested. Pretty much all my art that I do it starts as black and white, even pixel art and stuff, though just a different sort of method. For the most part, yeah, all my art is black and white, and then I sort of wildly overlay colors till something works. As I said before about focal points, you can also like push the viewer's eye towards a focal point with facing shapes and stuff. Now you can see here that we've got ferns, or one fern, sort of pointing directly towards a fire. You can use sort of shapes, many shapes like that, to try and center the user's eye on something. Now I did it before with the God rays too, sort of trying to face the fire, but this will be more part 2 and 3 when I get sort of more desperate to center the user's eye around the fire. So you'll be able to see that in future videos. Right now I think the focal point's probably that character that looks like he's sitting down, as he's quite the back of his head is quite contrasted against the fire. Just refining everything a bit. I don't really use any other tools other than just the paintbrush for refining. Rarely use selection tools. Just a smaller paintbrush, basically. I think the composition's almost there. I think it's ready to start coloring. So in video 2, we'll start the coloring process. Thanks for watching.